That's cool over there. I don't want to see you do that here, Junior. We're gonna tighten it up a little bit. Is there a little bit of that, or you think it's 100% a cheeky comment?
No, I think he's serious about that. I know that, the Rays are all for players being themselves and having some individuality, expressing themselves, but Kevin Cash and company aren't big fans of the showboating variety. I mean, you can go back to what Wander did a couple years ago with the ball flip, dealing with Jose Siri and all his antics. I think they want to try to avoid the me thing. So
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Double A days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we are here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this will be our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
In every season up till 2024, they've gone to the playoffs, but spring training is in the air, so grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, and subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
This episode will be brought to you by FanDuel. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started.
All right, Ulises, we had an eventful weekend, namely an eventful Saturday, as we were there at FanFest, not at the Trop, but outdoors at the St. Pier. The weather was perfect, maybe a tad warm, but it was nice to get outside and get a little bit of a different feel, taste, environment than being in the Trop. Of course, they couldn't be in the Trop because of the damage to it, but I think that was a good situation of them last minute making a call. Hey, let's have it at the Pier. And frankly, in the Rays defense, I'm sure they had to go through permit, figure out the parking situation, where they're going to lay out all the vendors. It was probably much more challenging than having it at the Trop, where it's just plug and play. We've done this for X number of years. We know where everybody's set up, where you're throwing this wrinkle into it. And I think overall, on the whole, it was a good, solid event, especially having to put it together in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, no, I there are goods and bad things we're going to get into FanFest. A good one is the vibes, I think.
Yes.
Just having the sun out there is just kind of like a different thing than just being in February when usually the weather is really nice and then you're like inside the Trop. Like, yeah, it's great that baseball is back and you're like in a Major League Baseball field. Like as a fan, you're just walking around. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But it does take away from the weather that, hey, we usually don't get, February with the nice breeze. Like we get very little of that nice, beautiful weather without the humidity. So to be outside is usually what should happen. So I think that was great. And you could see the water, people at the beach, and the pelicans. Like it was just a very nice change of vibe. But I will tell you this. In that weather, when you're walking around for 4 or 5 hours, you do need some, as you call them, daddy sodas. Daddy sodas are a must. And thank gosh we had a couple.
They could have charged whatever they wanted for those things, and I'm sure people would have bought them. Their beverage sales were probably higher than usual, I would say, being in the outdoor conditions. And we definitely partook. There were some free samples that we're able to leverage, which was nice. And it would not be a Locked On Rays episode without me complaining about the parking situation, because that is more of a challenge at the Pier versus at the Trop, believe it or not, where there's one big parking lot and you can pull in, then walk into the facility. Here, I had to really kind of vet some things out. And my best option, my only option, was to situate in a parking garage for $15 and then make the 15-minute jaunt over to the St. Pete Pier. It could have been worse. But that was a little bit of a hang up that I had to navigate. Of course, I was a couple hours late to FanFest. Traffic, a major consideration when you consider not only is the event going on at the pier, but you also have
other people.
That and then the Florida State Fair going on. So it was just a mess trying to navigate through St. Petersburg, unfortunately.
And also, it's just a bottleneck situation too that you have there in the parking lot situation when you get to the pier. So that's probably on the negative side. Like, you knew that coming in, it was going to be hectic and it was going to be kind of stressful. But once you got there and you got that cold beverage and you started to see some players in jerseys and playing with the kids and signing autographs, and you see Dwayne and the distance with BA and Doug Wechter, and you're like, okay, we're back. Maybe this is us. So it was exciting, man.
It really was. And do want to note some of the players we were able to meet and talk with. Curtis Mead, multiple time friend of the program. Hunter Biggie, friend of the program. Then we saw several other players as well moseying about, playing games and signing autographs and being their happy selves. Notably, I was very impressed by the stature of Jacob Wagaspak, the biggest dude on the field or at the pier. If they list him at 6'6", I might beg to differ. He might be 6'8" for all I know. He was massive.
6'6" while on his knees. Like it was ridiculous, the stature of this man.
Exactly. And then we saw newcomer Danny Jansen, Ben Rortvet, who might have the biggest forearms. He might give Yandy Diaz a run for the money with the forearms because that dude is jacked. And speaking of that, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make this year, but it did seem as though Curtis Mead has put on some weight in a good way, because that has been the one bugaboo with him is he was a little bit light as far as, I think they list him at 6'2", 170, something like that. And I think he's probably coming to camp another 15, 20, 25 pounds heavier, which hopefully administers into some more pop, because that's been his trouble, is getting the ball out of the infield or hitting the ball hard. So hopefully we see a change of pace with that.
Yeah, this year, hopefully we do see a little bit more exit velo from Curtis. He was gracious as always with us, giving us some time, and that's what he said. That was his main focus this offseason, just trying to build some strength, and hopefully we do get to see some results, because the dude did look jacked. Like this was a different type of Curtis Mead. So good to see him healthy. Good to see Hunter Biggie healthy, playing with the what are they called? The arcade basketball games, right? That's where they were with the
whatever those are called. That's what they were playing with. That was their way to take a breather from signing autographs and taking pictures.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. By the way, Jacob Wagaspak could literally just like drop it from above the ring. That's how tall this man was.
Yeah, that was the joke. Is he better have played high school basketball at least? Yeah. Like all you got to do is stand there, raise your hands up in the air, and you're getting all we need, Jacob. Blocks and
that's all we need,
and all that. Yes, exactly. We have more to discuss, but first, we have to tell the audience something very important, and that is Select Quote. In sports, having a winning strategy is everything. It's how the best teams make it to the Super Bowl, the World Series, and the Olympics. The same goes for life. Having a strategy for life insurance from Select Quote can protect your financial legacy and keep your family's future secure. Select Quote, if you didn't know, they make it easy to find the perfect life insurance policy. As one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years experience, they've helped over 2 million customers find $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Maybe that's something that Stu should leverage. What sets Select Quote apart is their personal touch. Unlike some of those other brokers out there that offer one-size-fits-all policies, their licensed agents tailor coverage to fit your unique needs. So if you're in good health, you might even qualify for same-day coverage of up to $5 million. No medical exam required, and it's more affordable than you'd think. You can get up to $1 million in coverage for as little as $20 a month. So go ahead, do it right now. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedon. Go to selectquote.com/lockedon today to get started. One more time for the audience in the back. That's selectquote.com/LOCKEDON. SelectQuote. They shop, you save.
I got to tell you, about
Yes.
the garage sale, which is always the best part. You get the
Mhm.
wall art, you get some stuff that's $5, and you're like, holy crap, this is like from 4 years ago. Yeah, I'm in.
Right.
Let's do this. I got myself a couple of nice gets. Number one, a USF Rays tumbler for $5. Hell
Good deal.
yeah. And a Rays light blue, dark blue backpack with the sunburst for $5.
Mhm. Good
New.
deal.
Okay. Yeah. And you and I got a drawstring backpack at the end for free.
That was
Look
for
at
free.
that.
Yeah, they did have some free giveaways as well, which was nice. And
If the garage sale, sorry, one more thing. If the
yeah.
garage sale, the proceeds go to Rays Baseball Foundation, which I think is a lovely thing and
Mhm.
awesome for them to do that. Baby, why don't you do it multiple times during the season? If that's where the money is going, I think we would all enjoy to see all that stuff throughout the year a little bit more times. How about that?
I agree with you, but it cuts into the profit margins. I would think it would be a really smart play to do it when the Rays are at Steinbrenner because ticket prices are going to be through the roof. Parking prices are going to be through the roof. I imagine concessions will be through the roof. New apparel will be through the roof. So why not pull it out there a couple stops during the year and really leverage that as, hey, this is a fundraising opportunity. But then again, then people might not be as gung-ho to buy some of the brand new gear for $75, $100, $125, whatever.
We're not asking every weekend. We're asking maybe like a couple more times throughout the year, man.
I'm with you, but that's a Stu call. I can't make the decisions based on Stu.
All
I
right,
can just send him a
we'll
text
text him
or an
after the
email.
show. Text
Yeah,
Stu after the show. We got an idea. I'll get him on the phone.
I did not see Stu at FanFest. Maybe he was lurking
there. I saw
around.
the article that he was there, but I did see Brian and I did see Matt.
Okay. I imagine he had a full escort of police officers surrounding Stu because
I think he wanted one.
What's the term I'm trying to look for? The approval rating, the approval factor of Stu among the Rays fan base is probably near zero at this point. That might have to be something that we get into later. But this is a FanFest episode. We actually do have some good clips, video clips, and audio of some of the comments that were made from some of the leaders of the Rays organization. But I think we want to shout out some other people that we met at the event, correct?
Yes. Joel, Caitlin, Kyle, Sarah, thank you so much for coming up to us and talking about the show and the pod. It's really awesome to just talk baseball and really we're so thrilled that people like what we do. Like that's such a cool thing. We do two things. We do this with the intent of doing two things, and every episode, and we've said this multiple times. Number one, inform. If we can just make you a more informed baseball fan, hey, I didn't know that. That's awesome. We've done our job. And number two, if we get a chuckle out of you for 30 minutes, if you even laugh, hey, then we did our job. Those are the two things: entertain and informative. So thank you all that came up to us. Let's start with a little video, Kev.
Okay.
On just, if maybe you didn't make it, this is what you kind of missed. I'm going to give you like a little FanFest overview, a shot of what it would have been like to be there.
Very good. About what time was that taken? Was that shortly after you arrived, around 1:15, 1:30?
Yeah.
Okay.
About that time.
So that was a pretty large crowd. I don't know if it's as high as what the newspaper is suggesting, around 20,000 people, but that was pretty chock full, a little bit more chock full than when I arrived around 3:15, 3:30. And that is the type of view. That is, you play baseball near the beach.
Yeah.
You should be able to take advantage of that, I think, every other year, maybe. Maybe you have FanFest one year at the Trop. Heck, next year it might have to be at the Pier no matter what. But
I think
maybe that's something that they can work out, is to have it at both locations. Because personally speaking, I was probably not the only person that had never been to the Pier. But now that I've been to the Pier from FanFest, maybe I'll go back again sometime. So I think that's a good kind of cross-branding, cross-promo item for the city of St. Pete or whoever runs the Pier and in the Rays.
Bring the team to the people. That was a great idea. I know that it was done because they had to, but If they were to do this more often, just bring the team. Honestly, I know there's a little, obviously right now is not the time, but like if the whole stadium thing wasn't happening, you could also do like a fan fest in Tampa too, and bring again the team to the people. Like I think that would be fantastic. I have a few videos, people. This might be a little bit more of a YouTube center episode. I mean, you'll get the audio, but if you want to hop on, if you want to hop on YouTube and actually watch Kyle Snyder, Kevin Cash, Will Cousins talk about different topics, well, let's start first with Kyle Snyder talking about Taj Bradley.
The season's long, especially for a 23-year-old in his first full season, obviously minus the Peck coming out of spring training. But, I mean, he won Pitcher of the Month. He could have won Pitcher of the Month twice if he hadn't given up 9 runs against Baltimore the very last day of May. I mean, it was that, 9-start stretch was about as impressive as I think anything Kevin and I, since we've been together, had seen. And did fatigue factor in a little bit towards the tail end of the year? Maybe, but I think just giving him an opportunity to start fresh, get a full 162 beneath him, a full 30 starts, and make sure that we're doing what we need to do to stay out in front of things. As excited as I am about anybody on our pitching staff for Taj Bradley in 2025.
All right. Okay. There we go. So I guess Snyder obviously loves Taj Bradley. I'm still not 100% sure if Taj is a lock to make the opening day rotation. I think it's going to be a battle. We know that Shane McClanahan's going to make the opening day rotation, minus any injury setbacks, but you still have the dilemma of 6 gentlemen for 5 openings.
I've changed my opinion since that news came out completely. I said Saglitel needs to be the opening day starter. They've always done it by earning rights. You're the guy. It doesn't, they completely changed that decision-making process. They gave Shane the ball, which now screams to me, if everybody's healthy, you're looking at a Zach Littell traded. Zach Littell is out of here. Like it's so obvious. You
can save $6 million and maybe help yourself with the offense this year or build up more prospect equity. I think that could be what we're looking at, assuming everybody stays healthy over the next 6 weeks. Exactly. Somebody goes down, then they have a backup plan of Zach Littell, but that wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world either. So
wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All right. We have more clips to get to. Do we want to play one more clip before we get to the break?
Yeah, let's do that. This one talks about the 2024 offense and what went wrong from Kevin Cash.
From 800 plus runs in 23 to 600 or so runs in 24. This game can be so volatile like that.
It can be volatile. We lived it last year. And look, we're not making excuses. Out of the gate, we weren't right. We weren't healthy. We had some key left-handed bats that were not part of our lineup. And I think we learned a lot about the value of having balance throughout a lineup. When you throw a bunch of righties up there against some tough right-handed pitching, it can go quiet pretty quick. So with a healthy Josh Lowe, Johnny Aranda, definitely we got to bubble wrap Brandon Lau because we know what he's capable of doing. But that group right there.
That was kind of a shot on Brandon Lau. Bubble wrap Brandon Lau. Holy cow.
Again, like we talked with Klosky last week, kind of loving this transparency by Neander and Cash in these two full forums, to be just completely as honest as possible. You trade Luke Raley away. That's a lefty gone. You have Josh Lowe coming on from a 2023 season where you're like, damn, this kid is a 2020 perennial hopeful all-star, is hurt. Brendan Lau, lefty, hurt. The office, and then you have Yandi and Randy just starting off in such a horrible way.
Right.
The 2024 offense it wasn't meant to be, man.
No, and it's got to be better if the Rays are going to win more than 80 games. And hopefully it is by the additions that they made. All right, we have more to discuss. But first, Ulises, I think we need to tell the audience something very important.
Yes, we do. And that means that when the game tips off, then NBA action is just getting started. And there's no better place to get in on that than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss opening tip-off or you want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. Hey, maybe now you're a Lakers fan with that big trade that just happened. Well, guess what? If you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. And right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
All right. We have quite a few more clipperoos to get through, Ulises.
Yeah. Let's do Kevin Cash talking about Yandy Diaz.
Off to a little bit of struggling start, but by the end, he was almost the same Yandi that he had been the day before. What's it like to be able to pencil that name in the leadoff spot every day?
We're very fortunate. He's amazing. And you're right, for 2 months, he just wasn't himself, but give him a lot of credit for finding a way to get to the end of the year, and his stat line was very consistent with what it's been in the past. So hopefully Yandi, another year under his belt. We've got some young players that can watch him. I know we got one young player that a lot of people are very excited about, myself included, Junior Caminero, and if he can follow suit with Yandi, that could be a pretty potent right-handed bat situation.
I was going to ask you about that. I thought
So maybe Yandi leading off and Junior batting second. Where does that throw in Hassan Kim when he's healthy and ready to play? Maybe they have to maneuver things around from there. I would think that Kim would be first or second in the batting order, but we know how creative the Rays are with that.
I would think that Kim is going to make an argument to be at the top of that lineup when he comes back healthy. But Junior batting behind Yandi is such a nice 1-2 punch. The problem is with that is, hey, you have a righty. Maybe they want to split that up.
Right.
Put, B. Lau in the middle of that or Josh Lowe in the middle of that. Who knows? But he's right. Yandi, honestly, you take away, and I think he was even a little bit more aggressive there, Cash, on 2 months of Yandi being kind of subpar. But you take his final line of what happened in 2024, and it's not a bad season that Yandi had.
It pretty lines up with his career numbers. I know it's not the MVP vote-getting season. That's his one career year. Pretty much everybody has their one career year. But if you look at his career norms, I think it pretty much is static with that, more or less. You'd like to get a little bit more of him and not be as slow out the gates. But, you really can't complain all that much with what Yandi provided. I mean, he was a lot more helpful than so many other guys. So.
Indeed. Talking about Junior Caminero at the end of that clip, he was asked about Junior, and this is what Kevin Cash said.
You want to do, you said it, get him comfortable and do right by the player. He had such an impressive winter ball. I bet most of us saw the highlights of what he did, what he accomplished, the bat flip. It's a good thing the roof's not on the Trop because he would have knocked it out. We're going to try to avoid that at Steinbrenner, but we'll take the home runs.
Well, at what point did
Kevin, I have a question.
Okay.
Was that full 100% tongue-in-cheek by Kevin Cash, the whole bat flip comment and the roof? Or when he says we're going to avoid that at Steinbrenner Field, is there a little bit of a hint of like, that's cool over there, I don't want to see you do that here, Junior. We're gonna tighten it up a little bit. Is there a little bit of that, or you think it's 100% a cheeky comment?
No, I think he's serious about that. I know that, the Rays are all for players being themselves and having some individuality and expressing themselves. But I also think Kevin Cash and company aren't big fans of the showboating variety. I mean, you can go back to what Wander did a couple years ago with the ball flip over to first base. And then, dealing with Jose Siri and all his antics. I think they want to try to avoid the me thing. So I think if they can get that in check, that's exactly what they're looking for. I do not think that they want to, as much, quote unquote, good publicity and going viral and all that it is. I think you can, and really it can be a detriment to your team in the sense that you do a bat flip like that, somebody's going to get beamed with a baseball. It might be Junior and it might be a couple other guys. So I think that the Rays are definitely going to hone in on that and settle it down. You can do it in the Dominican Republic. You can do it when you're not affiliated with the Rays, but when you're in a Rays uniform, that is not appropriate or allowed. I think that's the take they're going to have.
That's what I was talking about when we saw that bat flip, where we were talking about the bat flip a couple weeks back. I want Junior to have fun, and I want him to be as himself on the field as much as he can, unless that the other pitcher on that mound, he might not be able to control his emotions. And when he has a baseball in his hand, Junior or his teammates could get hurt. And yes. I want Junior to be healthy, and I want all Rays players to be healthy. And if you get a baseball thrown at your head, shoulder, knees and toes, elbows, whatever, hand, then bad things can happen. I don't want to.
And the players would probably think the same thing of like, yeah, it's great you hit a home run and you have a cool bat flip, but now you're giving a chance to get us hurt.
And we're not saying yes, and we're not saying that it's right for pitchers to check people like this. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's a reality. Like,
what
pitchers
happens,
can do that, and so avoid that because this could happen. Talking about a little bit more offense, Kevin Cash was asked about the outfield depth and what other names could be in play for this season, and a couple interesting names that we've talked about on the pod before, and Kevin Cash confirms.
Richie Palacios, and we're going to try Cabby out there. He's such an elite defender on the dirt. He's got a lot of speed. We'll see if he can go out there. You know, I don't know if it'll get starts, but we'll check it out. And then we have Eloy Jimenez, who we brought in as a free agent sign, and we're going to see how these guys play out. So Johnny DeLuca, I think what he showed us last year, it's pretty special defense, whether it's in the corner at right or in center. It can change the game with covering ground and throwing guys out. He'll probably man the bulk of center field when he's in the lineup, and then we'll work off that.
A lot to digest there. First of all, Johnny DeLuca, starting center fielder, bulk of the operation there. Jose Caballero, who, hey, we saw at FanFest. Wished him good luck. He was in a golf cart. That was nice.
Yeah. You also wish Jonathan Aranda good luck in Spanish, and he wasn't wearing, at least when we saw him, he wasn't wearing any Rays garb. So it was good on you to observe and notice him, because he just looked like an average guy walking his family around to the various vendor spaces.
Yeah, incognito mode for Jonathan Aranda there. Yeah, so we're gonna see Jose Caballero out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Jonathan Aranda also gets an outfield glove. He mentioned Eloy Jimenez, but we've also mentioned that Eloy Jimenez played literally one game in the last 2 years in the outfield or something like that.
I would be shocked if we see a lot of Eloy Jimenez in the outfield. Like, if we see more than like 20 innings from him in the outfield, color me amazed.
Yeah, more than 2 games. Exactly.
This is what spring training is for. You roll Palacios out there, roll Caballero out there, see what Eloy can do. And if it's in a situation where you have a pitcher on the mound who isn't going to allow a lot of contact, then maybe it's workable that you can stick him in the corner somewhere where not a lot of balls are going to be hit his way, and take what you can. But I would not list Eloy as a high outfield depth option at this point.
High, medium, or low, honestly. Again, I think I would put a sizable amount of green Skittles on FanDuel saying that he won't crack more than 2 games started in the outfield.
I would say that Chandler Simpson will get more action in the outfield with the Rays in 2025 than Eloy Jimenez would.
Oh, baby. I would put green Skittles on that right the bleep now. All right. Last one that we're going to play is Kyle Snyder talking about Danny Jansen.
Staff this year.
It's been a daily conversation since the beginning of spring, just the impact that we feel Danny's going to have, and just the professionalism that he brings, the leadership in the clubhouse. I mean, I've had, I don't know, he's probably caught just about everybody on our staff at this point. I've done my best to be able to kind of sit around him, whilst I would typically be around the dirt circle with the pitcher. I'm spending a lot more time around Danny and just giving him bite-sized pieces on, just our entire staff, pitch distributions and things that we might be working on. He's speaking the same language already. I think I speak for all of us. We're really excited to have him aboard, and he's going to help us with the run prevention side of it. And I'm certainly glad that we're not having to deal with having to face him any longer, because he was one guy that was on Toronto that really gave us a lot of fits.
Always did.
All right. Danny Jansen. High hopes for him, Kevin, this season for Danny.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that sometimes we overlook the fact that, yeah, he's there to provide offense, definitely more offense than Alex Jackson and some pop from that position. But we can't forget about the relationship with the pitchers and calling the pitches and handling their pitches and just having a repertoire and understanding with them. And I thought it was interesting that it was, not Kevin Cash necessarily, but Kyle Snyder talking about Danny Jansen. And it's good to see that he's already working with the staff and building a rapport with them and trying to get on the same page with them, because there's a lot of back end stuff that a catcher has to do besides just catching the ball and standing at the plate. So I think he is going to be a true professional in all the sense. The big thing, like everybody, is staying healthy. And if he's able to stay healthy for hopefully 95, 100, 105 games, that'll be great. It'll be great for him and Benton Rortvedt. And I think we're going to see elevation at that position. And plus the fact of, and I know this has been brought up before, but just the idea that he has dealt with adversity in the past of when he was with the Blue Jays, he had to play some games in Dunedin. He had to play some games in Buffalo. So he kind of understands how that goes, and kind of providing some best practices to the existing players, I think, will be important. So, again, I mean, it wasn't the sexiest signing at the time. It didn't have as much fanfare as getting Ha-Seong Kim, but I think it's going to wind up being a really, really solid move, hopefully in 2025.
Yeah, you need him to be in any added benefit that you get offensively from him for that catching position. And if there's no really detriment behind the dish either, then it was a win. And it seems like it is. And we saw him. He again, another dude that looks like he focused on strength building during the offseason, which is good. Be a little bit more durable, hopefully. No, it should be good. I think overall FanFest was a success. It'd be nice to get the actual numbers. Like you said, the 20,000 seems a little bit inflated, but that's just probably from the people that requested a ticket online and then they just use that number. But we had planned to discuss some stadium comments that Matt Silverman did before FanFest, akin to comments made of the split city right before the 2021 ALDS home games. We were going to talk about that. Time ran out.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that. And of course, like Kevin kind of preambled there for a little bit, or foreshadowed, the naming of Shane McClanahan as an open day starter. We're going to talk about that on next episodes.
Yes. Really, we probably wanted the Rays to just keep their mouth shut about the stadium deal now, because it's not looking good by any means. So we will get into that. And in the meantime, we hope you all enjoyed this episode, a little bit different, as we discussed our FanFest experience and got some clips. So hopefully you all found that worthwhile. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. And we are back to 5 days a week. So we will talk to you tomorrow.